U.S. equities are back lower in midweek trade. We're seeing a batch of U.S. economic data being digested, but politics are back front and center stage. So joining me today is Timothy Anderson of TJM Investments. Tim, great to have you here.
It's nice to talk to you.
Well, first and foremost, let's talk about politics. Following the speech in Arizona by U.S. President Trump, we saw a lot of political jitters return to the market sentiment. But this does come on the heels of yesterday's hopes of tax reform coming back into focus. So what do you make of everything we've seen in the past 24 hours?
Well, I think the only thing that is really potentially impactful on the market is Trump's statement that he would consider shutting down the government if he doesn't get the wall funded. And I think that that's a very easy fix. It's not a monumental amount of money. I think that Congress will end up funding the wall if that's what it takes to avoid the government shutdown, because I think he's pretty much driving the agenda on that issue.
And of course, we do have the Fed Symposium kicking off in Jackson Hole, Wyoming on Thursday.
Right.
Now we have central bankers, Janet Yellen, as well as Mario Draghi speaking. So do you expect anything of significance to come out from that gathering, especially given the topic of discussion?
You know, it's been a number of years now since there was really a market-moving event out of Jackson Hole. Now, it's certainly going to get a tremendous amount of attention. Every Fed watcher or wannabe Fed watcher on the planet will be dissecting every word that comes out of it. Now, Draghi gave a speech early this morning saying that he really thinks that central bankers need to be open and need to look at all the data. And clearly he's trying to posture enough political will among the rest of the ECB to end this a QE program that they'd been on at some point in time, and then figure out how to reduce the balance sheets.
And Tim, it's hard to believe, but we're fast approaching Labor Day, and that means once people come back from summer vacation, we'll be in the month of September. And it's all about the rate outlook for these central banks, as well as when the economic agenda for President Trump will actually be in place. So what's your timeline in terms of the central banks and agenda?
There's a very interesting thing going on in the market right now where the Atlanta Fed always does their pre-estimate of what GDP is going to be for the next upcoming quarter. Their estimate right now for Q3 GDP is 3.8%. But you've got to watch this rolling adjustment for the Q3 GDP that the Atlanta Fed has going on. And also possibly in a week or two, we'll get the first revision. Q2 GDP came in at 2.6%. I think they bumped that to 2.8 or 2.9. That'll be very interesting to see if that number gets close to 3 for Q2.
Okay, Tim. Well, we'll have to keep an eye on those figures coming in at the end of this week as well as the upcoming week. So as always, thanks for your insight and analysis.